My ministry, the 12 Tribe, we started in 1985. I remember growing up, about 1983, getting one of my first cassettes. You know, obviously cassettes go way back, but really it was about 84 is when I bought my first vinyl, and it was Run DMC that inspired me. So a year later is when we really started Christian hip hop on the West Coast. I really don't know if there was anybody else out there doing it at that time. But like I said, at that time, 85, 86, I can remember going to the skating rink, seeing Ice-T, Uncle Jam's Army, Egyptian Lover, seeing Ice-T going and doing 6 in the morning with his leather spikes on and stuff like that, because really that's all what was infiltrated. Everything that the East Coast did, the West Coast copied. You know, at that time you had The Message with Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, and that's how they dressed. It might sound funny now, but that's how it started. So to kind of date back with Christian hip hop, I mean, really the only first cassettes and CDs that I knew of were basically was Michael Peace. Then from there derived SFC, which was Soup the Chemist, PID, Preachers in Disguise.
Yeah, my name's Fred Lynch, and been in ministry, in rap ministry for close to 20 years. I started out as a youth pastor, which I was a kid. I was a youth when I was a youth pastor. I was 17, 18 years old, started working at an inner city church. No one else would work as the youth pastor, so I took it on. I was in Bible school, went to Bible school at 16, and started working at this church, and we started doing high school park outreaches, and so we'd go out on the park and do outreach, and I'd go out and rap, and I had another couple kids in my youth group where they come out with me, and I mentored, poured into their lives. Out of that group, that small group of young guys that I poured into, actually it was guys and a girl. So when we first started our group, it was 2 guys and a girl that was in the group. And these were all, they were into hip hop, and I was their pastor. And we started and named the group PID, Preachers in Disguise for short.
What's up? My name is TODD COLLINS, one of the original founders of Goatee Records, and now the owner and founder of Beatmart Recordings. The founding fathers of our market or our genre. I would have to say it's probably, for me, it's probably 3 people, one of which I've worked with, and I'm old enough to say that, sadly enough, that I was around for all of this, was Stephen Wiley, Michael Peace, and PID. Fred Lynch and those guys.
Back in the 80s, we would hit the parks over in South Dallas and just go into apartment complexes and parks, and that's where we cut our teeth. And we just wanted to help make a change, do what God called us to do, and that's change the world through the power of the gospel. And so we started doing that. It kept on going just about every other week. We were out on the streets rapping, and we were like, man, yo, we may need to put together an album. Never did I know that it would turn into something, you know, like all of this and doing an album.
There's a debate going on between whether Michael Peace and Stephen Wiley was the first actual rapper. I don't know. Like I said, I worked with Stephen Wiley, and the word on the street is that Michael Peace had the first rap song, and Stephen Wiley had the first Christian distributed record.
In '89, when Soup came out with Save Man from a Jungle with SFC, that was considered the first actual Christian hip-hop CD of its time that sounded like the secular market, that sounded that you could put next to a Big Daddy Kane record or a Heavy D and the Boys record, and people were feeling it because it just had that street element.
Crossman developed basically because around the early 90s, basically we were men who were convinced that we had no more place in the world, and we were thoroughly impressed with Jesus Christ and his church. Only problem is we looked funny in the church because of some of our cultural connections, the fact we were born on the other side of a cultural rift or gap. The church, we had a common faith, we didn't have a common cultural expression of that faith. So we were all nomads and misfits, and when you found somebody who was battling through the same dilemma as you, looking for the common faith of the saints, but a common cultural expression of that same faith, that was so hard to find that when we ran into each other, it was like, yo, let's let's break bread together, let's pray together, let's talk. Tonic, Ambassador, Fanatic, True Life, Enoch, Cruz Cordero, Earthquake, who was a producer, who was part of Tonic. He was like his right-hand man. That really was the original cross movement. That's how we formed.